Hey, John.
Nick, how are you? How are things in cool green Wales?
It's summer in Wales, so we've got roughly equal parts sunshine and showers at the moment. I'm
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
I'm
Well, we're not doing showers in Oklahoma City. We're doing Dust Bowl. We're doing
oh
Dust
wow.
Bowl. I got my sunglasses here on in the shed because of my box lights here, and um, yeah, I'm being broiled. When you walk out of the store where I work into the parking lot to pull some carts, it's like walking into a preheated oven. It's just it's like
You,
it's like
so
opening the door of an oven and doing there it is.
you're suffering for your art, John. That's
That's
very
right.
noble.
That's right. I love my job. It really is fun. It's great exercise and good people, but it's hot. No,
Yeah.
nobody's saying, "Gosh, I wish I had your job. I wish I could get outside." Everyone's like, Are you drinking enough fluids?" Everybody talks to me like I'm 10 years old. Have you had enough water, John? Anyway, we're up to running grave. We're up to
We
running
are.
grave.
We
Whew,
are. So
this is like the end. This is like I mean,
this is
we're
the end of what? So what are we doing here, John?
whew, this is our celebration of J.K. Rowling's or Joanne Rowling Murray's 60th birthday, Nick. And um, you and I are both Niponophiles or phones, whatever. And we uh, uh, we know the 60th birthday is a very big deal
Yeah.
in the Japanese. They celebrate it as a big deal because of their astrological calendar. Now, their astrological calendar, there's two of them. There's the 9 star key one, which is the one I prefer, but as in my Japan love, it's 9 star key. But the one that's more dominant in the external culture is the Chinese astrological symbol, which is the 12 animals you'll see on a restaurant placemats, and then the 5 elements. So you'll have, if you're a snake, you'll have 5 different snakes in the 60-year cycle. Um, I'm a metal ox, you're a metal dog, and Rolling is a wood snake. Now, if you're born in the year of the wood snake, 1965, you've gone through all the 12 animals and all the metals for those animals, and you've arrived at 2025, 60 years later, and it is again the year of the wood snake, which means that you're entering into that cycle all over again. It's a second birth. Unless you're really Methuselah, you don't get a second Kanreki. This is really the end of that cycle. And to observe that, we are doing a lake and shed reading of everything that Rowling has done, and then we're going to probably do some fourth generation work after this is over. Because this is it. We have somehow managed to do every day
Yeah.
a work by J.K. Rowling, the lake and the shed. And that lake in the shed metaphor, for those of you who have this is you just dropped in for Running Grave. That's Rowling's predominant writing metaphor. Her lake is her source of inspiration, and she uses the water imagery. She's good Jungian, I guess, a good water image for her subconscious mind, or the spirit. And that's all of her history, her biography, her her crises, her key experiences, her key relationships, uh, the unresolved issues. And this bubbles up out of the lake. We actually have a picture of what that lake, the lady in the lake, looks like. But that person gives her some molten glass idea of a story. Woo. And being the storyteller, she's very excited about that. She has to wait patiently sometimes, but she can't demand the lake give up stuff up. But she takes that lake material, that idea, and she takes it into the shed. And in the shed, she uses her tools in the shed. And those are I used to call them the hidden keys, the things that Rowling does inside her shed to take that story and raise it up out of the Mary Sue kind of projection and wish fulfillment fantasy, and turn it into archetypal story that people around the world just love and are moved by. That's been my job for what, a quarter century now. Rowling insisted, though, you really can't understand her work without the lake material. And now that's the guy from Western England, Eastern Wales. He's right there in Pagford to tell us that lake material. And so we've been doing this lake and shed pickleball game for 3 weeks now, right? I mean, this is we're really getting into it. We still haven't quite decided what we're going to do after this for the next 10 days, Nick, but that's fine. We'll figure something. I think someone said something in the comments about wanting to do golden threads.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of material there, and so that would be some interesting Kanreki stuff. And I mean lake and shed stuff. Was that a fire hose version of what we do before every show, Nick?
That's brilliant.
All right.
So I guess as the guy in the lake, I've got a bit of a confession to make, John. So I have my physical copy. So this is the first book that I got a physical copy delivered to me, courtesy of Amazon. Other booksellers are available. On the day of publication. I'd already started it because I was awake at midnight with my electronic version. But this arrived later on in the day. This is unlike any book she's ever written. So this is a thriller. This was so much of a thriller, I forgot that I was supposed to be trying to solve a murder mystery. And when the murderer was unmasked, I was going, oh yeah, that's what Strike was doing. This is a Len Deighton novel. This is 100-mile-an-hour thriller. This is a spy story, complete with Bond villain, complete with jumpsuited henchmen. This is unlike anything she's ever written before.
She describes it though as a cult book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but the thing is, John, J.K. Rowling hasn't been in a cult. She's not a spy. Her life has been interesting, but you wouldn't say her life story.
Nick, for 40 plus years.
Yeah, and there's so sure politics maybe, but so I was thinking, I've told everyone this is my favorite book, and it's a great book. I can't turn up and tell John the lake is dry. Sorry, she was never a spy. I thought about, well, I could do. There's James Bond. There's Len Deighton. She must have read them. Maybe she's pulling that from the lake.
Well, in the Silver Dagger thing, she talked about how much she loved Ian Fleming. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but really, there's not much that I can put on the pillars until I went for my walk with Addie this morning.
And Addie had something to tell you. I love that.
Addie, yeah.
She's the lady in the lake.
So we were chatting about the story, and at every sort of turn, I'm thinking, well, yeah, okay, well, that could reflect. And it's about a 3-hour walk, and by the time we got back, well, they're all pillars. You can walk across that lake on the pillars. You can't swim because all these buoys will be banging into you. It's so packed inside this book. So again, I confess I haven't done my homework. This is very little's written down. It's all inside my head. But
now your hand, Nick. We're gonna slap your hand.
I'm gonna briefly run through the pillars. So the first pillar is the players in her biography. So family. Bad dad?
Oh, check.
We've got the death of Willen's mother. We've got the death of Deirdre Doherty. We've got sibling interactions and sibling strife. We've got her acknowledged friends that are in the book. So Strike is based on her oldest and probably her best friend.
Now, Nick, I gotta interrupt you there because I agree with you that that's the case, but she has denied it point blank in the Barmy Army thing. She says
yes.
She says no. Strike is not based on Sean. Don't say that.
No.
Anyway.
but
putting that in the file of rolling untruths that she said.
I would put that. I wouldn't say go as far as to say it's an untruth, but it's a little bit like when Fancourt says he's not writing an autobiographical piece about this lady's suicide. Of course he is. So and I'm sure there's enough differences, and she can put enough distance to deny to herself. But she has outright come out and said that Berkeley is based upon a friend of hers, an unlikely friend. And Rowling helped to launch his career as a political writer. He's also a rapper and a poet. Berkeley is based on a real person. Collaborators, the people that she works with. Nolly, the actress. I think there's there's several people I am sure that Rowling has run across in her professional relationship, the celebrity culture that would fit that bill. I was just rereading again this morning when I got back from my walk, The Arrival of the Shiny Americans. That's corporate with their perfect gleaming teeth. That's corporate America. That's the Warner Brothers when they troop into that boardroom, all the briefcase carriers and the pen pushers. That's them. The next pillar, we go on to the 7 ages of Jo. Let's count them off. Her childhood. Well, we've got the Doherty family with a pushy father who thinks the world has been unfair to him. That's her childhood. Her education and the class system that she would have run into living as she did in Tuts Hill and going to school in Wydene. Chapman Farm.
Exeter's where I think she really got the
and Exeter. Well, Chapman Farm is run on a class system. All of the different groups that they have and their different privileges and the different abuse that they're subjected to, that is a class system.
It's really based on birthright.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. But birthright, or what the system thinks they can get out of you. The pre-Portugal employment. So Robin's backstory to get herself into the cult is that she's had a failed relationship that did not work as planned, and she's looking for an escape. Abandoning her old life and moving somewhere completely new. Well, that's the flight to Portugal. That's her running away from her life.
With Michael. People always talk about the move to Portugal being a consequence of her mother's death.
Yeah.
She doesn't move to Portugal until she breaks up with Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. Okay.
Post Portugal. So that's coming to Edinburgh with a small child and really nothing but the clothes on her back. Well, that's the people that get out of the cult. It's exactly how they end up. Will Enzer has nothing but the clothes on his back and a small child, and is looked after by a husband and wife team. Pat and her husband put them up. That's exactly Jo's situation when she was put up by Diane and her husband. Core beliefs and concerns. Feminism. Violence against women, sexual violence. It's addressed.
Some of that.
It's addressed in the book, John.
A lot of parallels with Career of Evil in here.
Yeah. Christianity or belief in the soul. I mean, that's what everyone's looking for, and they're looking in the wrong place. But that's what everybody is looking for. Therapy. So we see Jungian therapy. We see a therapist. Death.
Well, even more so, we have that therapeutic crisis inside the UHC where Robin really has to deal with her relationship with Matt.
Yeah.
I was reviewing that this morning and really being taken aback.
Yeah.
That Robin, she goes into a Skinner box. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of a sadist Skinner box. But I mean, she has this psychological crisis there, and Chrysalis, she comes out of that
Yeah.
box and she's a totally transformed person. She's literally like a newborn. She's also psychic. She knows Strike is there. It's that's the psychological transformation. I mean, yeah, we get kind of the friendly Jungian who gives her a nice dress and shoes and stuff at the beginning, but the real crisis work is actually on campus. And I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Death, mortality, that's Chapman Farm is a charnel house. They're plowing up fields of bodies. The crises in her life. So the relationship with her father. So we've covered some of the bad dads, the Dohertys, and the death of the mother. We've got the death of Deirdre Doherty. We've got the death of Will Ennis's mother. Abusive relationships, the Portugal nightmare. That's pretty much non-stop abuse when we get
around a baby.
I mean,
the violence in Portugal around the baby.
Yeah. I changed my analysis pretty much 180 degrees, and I think it was also my problem with analyzing with this book is when I really enjoy a book, you reach that point where you forget that you're reading words, or you're listening to an audio book and you forget that you're listening to a narrator and you're part of the story. Rowling talks about this. It's a partnership between the writer and the reader, because there's only so many words that she can use to describe something. When you're seeing it, that's a partnership of imagination. You're taking Rowling's lead, but all those gaps you're filling in, that's your creative instinct that's doing.
And that point is when Rowling's writing about writing and reading, which is most of the time. Okay. And there's all this content about elision of self and other. We talked about with Christmas Pig, about how the child has this transference thing. It's like a mother's love. So a mother's love is just that, where there really is no self and other. When during pregnancy, this is a double person. And then the child is exteriorized, has its own reality. But the mother is such a caring. I think that love is this elision of self and other, that subject and object really don't exist between mother and child. Well, that's her symbol of Christ. That's selfless, sacrificial, unconditional love. And that's the fabric of reality. That's what's real. Now, when you enter into the story the way you just described it, where suddenly your imagination is this cardiac intelligence, is this loving capacity. And when you go into the story like that and you disappear into it, there's no longer an ego historical reality, unless maybe you're charting the stories. But that elision of author and reader inside the text is what Rowling is talking about as your means to that. I mean, this was the whole idea of how novels grow out of the Industrial Revolution and empiricism's taking over the public square. The novel suddenly appears as like a providential check to that. So people can still have this experience. They weren't getting it in their churches. They weren't getting this transformative love experience through the mysteries of the church. I would say because those mysteries were invalid, but that was because it just wasn't happening. That the whole culture had been shifting to a materialist, reductionist, individual experience. But the novel appears in which you have that self-other extinguishing inside the story. So one reason why these communities around books are so passionate is because it's the only religious experience these people have. It turns into something like a cult. She's certainly writing about that. You didn't mention that crisis. That certainly this is reflective of the cult-like experiences. I think we're very much like what was going on in the online communities, and their reaction to Rowling as a betrayer. Anyway, that's That's a lot of lake, Nick. That's a lot of lake through a fire hose.
Yeah.
Any one of those things you could write up as a long post. I was in a different situation because we read these books in an entirely different fashion. You got the book at midnight,
Yeah.
and you did the full immersion straight through. And I did the opposite.
I remember, John. I remember because I had this crazy theory about Charlotte, and I think I finished the book in a little less than a week, which is quick for me. But John was doing all of this amazing work on charting the structure of it, and I was seeing the posts coming out, and we were chatting as he was doing this. But of course, I wasn't allowed to say anything because I'd read so much further ahead, and I was sitting on my hands waiting. John, did you see what I saw in Charlotte? Wow,
I didn't.
I,
I was on my chair when you finally. I finished the book and I'm like, wow, wasn't that great when we were talking about the book? And you said, yeah, but what about Charlotte? And I was like, she's dead. End of story. And it was like, oh no, Charlotte was murdered. She didn't commit suicide. Oh, that was the whole setup. That was the whole cult thing. You read that book and you're like, I wouldn't be so stupid. I wouldn't join a cult like that. Who could be that crazy? And then we all fell into the just ignore all the red flags about Charlotte's thing. But yeah, I spent 4 weeks charting the 9 parts. I read each part as if it were a separate novel and charted it. And then after I got through the turn in part 5, I started to chart the novel, how the parts related to each other. And then when I'd finished all the 9 parts and the latch and the epilogue, the prologue and the epilogue, then I did the series thing, how it was a 7-book series. I've never worked a book over so hard from the start.
When the Nobel Committee finally get their house in order and start issuing medals for services to critical appreciation, for that work you have to get one. It's monumental. It's really a stunning piece of work.
And I haven't looked at it. Thank you very much, Nick. You're very kind. I looked over it this morning trying to, what am I going to talk about? And I imagine you were out with Addie saying, well, John's got this ring edifice. He's got his thing,
I set the meeting for 4 hours. My assumption is you're going to talk about the ring, right?
I can't. I really can't. I mean, one, it's it was 9 posts just doing the 9 parts. I think it was 10 actually, and then I did the 3 parts for the series. And all of it involved pictures. All of it involved, the ring diagrams of the turtleback structure for each one of the things, which is real inside baseball. If you haven't got the part right in front of you, there's no way you remember the books in that detail. And so I actually, my flip chart is here in my shed. I should have put it in the background here for this talk. You'd need it, and you'd have to go through it bit by bit. I was thinking that when Hallmark Man comes out, we should have a private class where people will just commit to reading this thing like a Dickens novel. Like they just got one part. They can't read the rest of the book. They can't read the ending. They have to read it part by part and then really study it. As if it's the only thing, and Rowling encourages that. She always gives like 7 chapters before the book comes out. Like, this is the way you're supposed to read this thing, read it by pieces.
What I'm going to do, John, is I'm going to put a poll in this post for people that want to attend that class for publication day of the Hallmark Man. You've got 3 options. Absolutely, John, I'm going to be there. Never in this life. And finally, for the waverers, I admit the possibility I might be there.
Well, I'll only do it if we can do a lake and shed thing while we're doing it. Like where you can see like, there's a lake right here, And we're not just flying through it. You can do that. Oh, there we go. Here's this and that. We can do golden threads as we walk through it. Yeah, that would be fun. It would certainly be more fun than doing it by yourself. On the floor of your living room with this chart on the ground, drawing these pieces out. I mean, it was nuts. Anyway, so I can't do the shed. I can't do the shed piece with the rings. And it is funny. Right now, I think that's what I'm known for, I guess, is the crazy structuralist guy. I mean, I used to be the Christian guy, exclusively the Christian guy, and maybe the alchemy guy and that kind of thing. But nobody talks to me about as the mythology guy. That's kind of disappointing. I've done a lot of work with the mythology, but I can't do the ring stuff here because it's just it's too complicated. It's really good, and there's a lot of work to be done. Really, only Potter pundit, serious striker that's gotten into it has been Louise Freeman. She's done really great work on that stuff. And there's a lot of reason to believe it doesn't work because I'm the only person who's done it, and I'm coming into it with the obvious bias, to read the books this way and to find the things I find. And I'm acknowledging that flat out. I mean, I can't. Somebody has to be that person. But being the pioneer usually means that your body is found in the desert with arrows in the back, with bones. The pioneer is not a happy position. So I know I'm taking the lead on this, and that history will laugh at me maybe. But there we are. What I want to talk about today is going to be something a lot different. I'm going to talk about the meaning in the middle of part 9. Now, part 9, of course, is when everything comes to, it's the end of the book, really. I'm going to talk about one symbol in there, and that's this mother of pearl fish pendant. That's really the climax of part 9, which is the wow finish of the book. Yes, that's not where Strike confronts Abigail Glover, where we get the whole fabula laid out. But they lay out what happened. We construct the fabula of, that means this and this happened in sequence. We get the whole murder thing. But for me, the climax, the secret room, like Harry Potter goes into the secret place, the unplottable point inside the shrieking shack, and this unplottable point is in the UHC headquarters in London, where Robin confronts Mother Mazu. It's that chapter, that middle chapter of part 9. There's a symbol, and that's that represents a mother's love for her child, even any child. Robin, has come into the UHC headquarters, and she hears a baby crying. And only then does she look for and find the hidden golden door. That's to the alchemist, it's like, here we go, baby. A door which, when open, reveals the means to discovering the reality behind and above the surface story, which is the public narrative of the UHC cult. Mother's love, as I talked about yesterday, or was it the day before? It was one of our 2 Christmas pig things. Mother's love as a cipher for and symbol of the love of Christ, life-giving, selfless, sacrificial, etc., is to be found in everything Rowling has written, from Lily Potter, Narcissa Malfoy, Crystal Whedon, to Lita Strike, Mom and Christmas Pig, and yes, not sure she even wants a baby, Robin-Ellacott. As I said about Christmas Pig, her use of maternal love as a symbol of our metaphysical origin in God's love, the Logos, our victory over death, is essential to getting what Rowling is about. Okay, philosophically, in terms of her lake, her shed, this is all there. It generates these things, just as Jack's thoughts of his mom and reaching out to CP as a touchstone of that love create, by a chronological correspondence, this Johannian light that breaks through the finding hole and bother it's gone, that saves the boy and his toy from certain death. And the boy who lived, Harry Potter, it's all about his mother's love and the sacrificial death. From Voldemort's death curse in the Godric's Hollow Potter home forward, everything is about Lily Potter's love that protects him. Harry's love for his parents moves him to pursue the Philosopher's Stone in his first year at Hogwarts, and it's the maternal love that suffuses him so entirely that it burns Quildamort as he attempts to kill the boy before the Mirror of Erised. Now, his mother appears to him in Goblet. I mean, all through the book. Okay, that if you reread the opening of the Hallows dialogue between Harry and the Dark Lord in the Great Hall as they circle each other in their duel to the death, Harry mentions his mother's 3 appearances in Stone, Goblet, and Hallows, and that it was his intentional doing what my mother did that protects everyone fighting Voldemort. Poor Tom Riddle Jr., though, of course, who never knew a mother's love, still doesn't understand. He derides Dumbledore's favorite solution, love, which he claimed conquered death. Which power did not prevent me from stomping out your mudblood mother like a cockroach, Potter. Okay. I mean, the light and life, though, that blazed in the Great Hall after Harry's victory, the possible sunrise at death's symbolic and salvific death, is that life and light of the world, the Johannine Logos. In the Logos was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Again, the prologue from John. Maternal love, the purest correspondent symbol and vehicle of God's love and human experience, in Rowling's work is life-saving and death-destroying when a character identifies with it entirely to the point of accidental ego self's extinction. Okay. Now, and this is a big part of Running Grave because of this symbol, this mother of pearl pendant. In the middle of part 9, Robin discovers the truth about the UHC, especially with respect to its abuse of children, after hearing a baby's cry. She told Emily in their part 5 Norfolk encounter, there is truth, period, full stop. And this goes back to the, what is real conversation we had about the Blue Bunny. Emily says, a single event, 1,000 different recollections, only the blessed divinity knows the truth, said Emily, quoting from the answer, the UHC Bible. But there is truth, said Robin firmly. It's not all opinions or memories. There is truth, is, in italics there. Emily looked at Robin with what seemed to be frightened fascination. In the temple, Robin is inspired to find the real truth beyond opinions and memories. The subjective things in my head, Harry discusses with Dumbledore at King's Cross when his maternal love is triggered. If you doubt that Logos Christ connection, skip to chapter 132 in Running Grave, the finale confrontation with Becca and Auntie Mother Mama Mazu upstairs at the temple. I'm gonna read this to you. I love this. The door banged open as Mazu raised her hands to her bleeding nose. Jesus Christ, shouted Midge. Panting, Robin scrambled off Mazu, holding the rifle. Only now did she realize she was holding part of the black cord of Mazu's pendant in her hand. The mother of pearl fish lay broken on the floor. Now, when Midge, invokes the name of the Lord, it's become something of a commonplace in the Strike novels. With the Jesus count now at 42, Christ at 50, and a full Jesus Christ at 25, with 7 in Running Grave alone. I mean, seriously, those of us who are keeping count, all of us are keeping count, are just doing that, whoa,
Guys who are watching this, I want you all to picture John scratching out 5-bar gates as soon as he runs across any of those in the books.
Almost always the name of the Lord is used as an expletive. You can see Strike's prayer shout during the chase scene in chapter 118 in this book for a good example of that. Jonathan Wace likes to drop the name too. But in this scene, Midge's invocation is more than just her shock at seeing Robin busting Mazu's nose repeatedly with a rifle butt. This is definitely Cuckoo's Calling finale flashback here. Unlike all the other mentions of Christ in Strike 7, forgive me, Orthodox Christians, we make the sign of the cross every time we say the name. So this is really this is a tough one for me. This one comes in a to the death fight between women. You can think of Molly and Bellatrix in Hollows, or better, given the fight over a gun, the archetypes of opposing feminine roles, and the protection of a beloved child, not her own. This is Miss Pross and Madame Defarge in Tale of Two Cities, a book we know that Rowling loves. At least as important, there's a symbol of Christ, the mother of pearl fish pendant that is a relic of the drowned prophet. In part 4, chapter 69, for those of you who are reading at home, when this pendant is supposedly lost, Jonathan Wace tells the community to inspire them to search for it. "My friends," said Wace with a sad smile, "my beloved wife has suffered a loss. Some of you may have noticed she wears a special pendant, a mother of pearl fish. It once belonged to Dayu, the drowned prophet. The fish was found in Dayu's bed on the morning of her ascension." Mazu is rarely mentioned without this token of her child Dayu and her grief as a mother and faith in her as a token of her grief as a mother and faith in her daughter's divinity. My favorite is the stolen prophet manifestation mention. Robin now stopped writing. She hadn't had time to fully process what had happened in the temple, and with her fingers numb with cold, she doubted she could convey to Strike just how frightening the manifestation had been. The pitch darkness pierced by 2 spotlights, one trained on Mazu in her blood-red robes, the mother of pearl fish gleaming on its cord around her neck, the other on that towering straw figure. Mazu had commanded the straw figure to give proof that the stolen prophet lived on in the spirit world, and a hoarse shout had issued from the figure echoing around the temple walls. "Let me stay in the temple. Don't let them take me. Don't let them hurt me again." Anyway, but there's the mother of pearl pendant, right? Robin's winning of this self-defining pendant in her final battle with this fairy tale witch who haunts her, thinking, even after her escape from Chapman Farm, is no small thing. The key to its meaning, Nick, is in the world's mother of pearl and fish. The connection with Christ, beyond, again, a mother's love, is in the pendant itself and the symbolic meaning of mother, pearl, and fish. Okay, the fish has been a symbol of Christ since the apostolic era, being a glyph of 2 intersecting circles. Draw 2 circles intersecting, and that middle piece is the fish, right? That's the ichthys, right? This seamless conjunction of which 2 spheres is the incarnation of the Logos as Jesus of Nazareth. The top sphere is perfect God, and the bottom one is perfect man. On the horizontal, the intersection, that fish piece, the vesica piscis, the fish vessel, or mandorla almond, so important to Christian iconography. And vertically, it's the ichthys, which is Greek for fish, that remains a token of recognition between Christians. The Greek word ichthys is an acronym for Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior. The Greek words spell out ichthys. Pearl is as laden as fish, as a symbol, and as linked with Christ, who is the pearl of great price and the light of the world. Now, I wrote about this in my Hunger Games work because pearls are so big inside the Hunger Games. Okay. Pearl, like the swan, silver, and the moon, is a traditional alchemical symbol representing the white work or alberta of transformation. It's especially apt because a pearl's beauty is in its whiteness, certainly, or its purity, but mostly it's about its luminescence. Now, in the Hunger Games, when Peeta gives Katniss the pearl before the crisis of the Quell, and after promising to die for her greater life, we have the gift of love and life that only the Christ figure in the story, that's Peeta, to give, and a sign of her eventual divinization if she can retain the purification she's experienced there. And pearls are lifesavers in catching fire. Mads brings the painkillers. I don't want to go through all of that. But the big thing is that gold is the solid light of material metals that is the universal symbol and traditional culture of God's glory that we're all going to experience at our death. The pearl is the solid light of the seas and is considered invaluable and beautiful for the same reason. Okay. You can go to Matthew, right? The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in the field, which a man found and hid. In his joy, he goes and sells all that he has, and he buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who is a merchant seeking fine pearls, who having found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. Okay, this is the hidden light we all experience to varying degrees as conscience. This is that logos within us. Katniss in the Hunger Games, her spiritual transformation, even her theosis, is dependent on her finding herself. And it is that pearl of great price she's been given by the boy with bread that is her hidden treasure and the pure light that will save her. Now, Rowling, she makes Mazu's pendant a fish made of mother of pearl. Emphasis here on the mother ties this together. Mazu and Becca used the pendant to try to frame Rowena at Chapman Farm by hiding it under her bed. trying to frame Robin before announcing the search for it. This represents their use of authentic spiritual images, tropes, even scripture to advance their egocentric egomotivity, Nick, egomotivity, and demonic desires, which is the furthest thing from actual maternal selfless love. That Robin wrests this from Mazu in the novel's climax speaks to the world being made right and the anti-mother being stripped of her false claim to anything divine. This stripping is in conjunction with the rescue of the baby that Mazu had taken from its true mother. Okay, that finished the UHC storyline of Running Grave in really the center of part 9 is foreshadowed in the chapter 128 turn, in which Robin's heart is her guide to the hidden door, a guide who is all but required to find that crying child. Okay, how does this turn link up with the big reveal in the last chapter of part 9, the stunning revelation that Abigail Glover was the evil genius beyond Dayu's death, the cover-up at the Comer Beach, the murder of Kevin Pirbright, and the suicide of Carrie Woods? Abigail grew up without her mother, and with Mama Mazu, the fairy tale witch of a stepmother, one who abused her stepdaughter and got away with it because of Jonathan Weiss, the negligent popsicle father. See, this is bad dad on steroids. Okay, how many of the murderers in the 7 Strike novels are either A, men who were hated or neglected by their fathers and mothers, or B, women who were deprived of a mother's love and father's attention, or their own ability to marry and have children? And that would, Nick, would be exactly 100% of the murderers in the Strike novels. The meaning in the middle is that Robin follows the cry of the baby to find the hidden door to the wicked stepmother that created the psychopathology of Abigail Glover, the killer behind the murderer. Abigail's decision to stage Dayu's death by drowning on the beach where her own mother died was her unconscious signaling of the second crime's point of origin in her psychology. I mean, here you have, you describe it as a thriller. For me, it's more than a thriller. It's Rowling's, again, elevation of her lake elements, the bad dad and the divine mother, which is not only, her relationship with her own mother as her point of, love inside her home, because the picture of Mrs. Price in Casual Vacancy is not that flattering. I think it's her own experience as a mother that transforms her, the way it should have transformed Margot Bamborough, but she didn't quite get it. That is, the message of the story is that Rowling takes that personal experience and then elevates it up with traditional symbolism and, the genre of the thriller and the cult novel, to create this experience, as you said, Nick, where you experience a mother's love as a reader entering into a story with imagination. Yourself elides imaginatively with the work of the writer. Wow, to me, it's the second, maybe the second best of the series. The I Ching thing, I don't think really worked. Nothing like it's probably from my neglect of it, but it doesn't work anything like with the power that the
Fairy Queen
is to Troubled Blood. Now, the actual turn, and I'm going to put the links into, if you want to do the ring right, the actual turn of the book is where Will Ensor talks to Robin inside the cult, and they're putting down the actress, Nick. It's one of the great scenes about the facilitators of the UHC, which Rowling is clearly talking about the writers and creatives that lined up with the whole trans nonsense, and just cheered for the train running along the tracks towards the cliff. In that very center of the book, he quotes Hindu scripture and Christian scriptures, and that's maybe that's what I should have talked about, Nick, is my lake thing, but I couldn't give up the mother of pearl thing. That turn in the book is the meaning is in the middle. When you do ring structure, you find the center, because that's where you're going to, in Rowling's book, you're going to find the murderer. The murderer is somewhere in that middle. Usually in disguise, but oftentimes just by interview. That somewhere in the center of her books is the murderer. But that Will Edensor thing where he quotes the scripture, I won't. That's a whole nother talk. Maybe I'll highlight that in the down below links, because the exegesis of those scriptural points is really the meaning of Running Grave, about this selflessness, and that Will Edensor, who's kind of the autistic savant, if you will, of the book. I mean, he's so clueless. He sees the idealist that is the real target. I mean, stupid people don't go to the UHC. Idealists go to the UHC. They get trapped inside of it because of their wanting for a better world. This greater life beyond their ego motivity. I mean, Rowling's really talking about the cult of online fandoms, I think, and how they're looking for something greater than themselves inside these things, and they just become prisoners of groupthink. That is just the opposite of what she's trying to do inside her books.
Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the rest of these online videos.
Where did that come from?
You're talking about online fandom and the dangers and pitfalls.
That's right. Join our cult, because we're different. We're not like any of those other cults. Woo! Okay. It's great that I didn't get that joke. It's really hard to see the Hogwarts Professor group. I mean, we're talking about the island of misfit toys. I mean, it's hard to see us as a cult. There's like 12 of us, I think. But I mean, that's and maybe is that what this is about, Nick?
Of course, that's how I see it, John.
The Dumbledore with the cough. My withered arm here. Join our cult. Wow. This is the cult in terms of culture, Nick. This is we're trying to do the real reading. So we come to the end, and I do hope that people down below will tell us where they want to go. I think we have to decide tonight, Nick. Where we're going to go.
Have you had your advanced reader's copy of the Hallmarked Man yet? I've been checking the post, and mine hasn't come yet. You haven't had your review copy yet? No.
It must be. It's going to come with the invitation to the Kanreki birthday party, Nick.
I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah. There are rumors that she's sailing on the coast of the United States. Can you confirm or deny?
Well, she posted a photograph yesterday of it was a few days ago now, of her husband catching a ling cod fish, what looks to be off the back of her boat. Now, those with an extensive knowledge of marine animals will know that the ling cod is almost exclusively limited to the very far North Pacific.
So she's dancing with the earthquakes and the she's what a great place to be, Nick, when there's tsunami warnings. That's a great thing, I wonder if she'll include that in one of her books. She hasn't done a sea adventure yet, Nick, has she? I mean,
that's true. Look out for Strike and Captain Nemo collaboration.
Yeah, she really isn't the Jules Verne. Jules Verne is a big ring writer. Yeah. That's funny. So Rowling is off the coast of Alaska. That's great. Well, Joe, if you're listening, if you're tuning in, we're still standing by for our copies of Strike-8 and for our invitation to Kanreki. We're looking forward to seeing you in your funny hat. I wonder if Amazon will make deliveries to Alaska so she can have a proper Kanreki outfit.
Well, she Greenland last year, and she dressed up as a sea sprite goddess thingy.
Well, the funny thing is until we did the show on Fantastic Beasts 3, the Secrets of Dumbledore,
Yeah.
And we got the wood snake connection, the snake wood wand that is so critical to the understanding of the Fantastic Beasts series. That to me was funny because I thought, wow, she actually does. She's playing with this. She knows the wood snake thing. So maybe she is celebrating her 60th birthday as a Kanreki. Maybe we will see her in the baby outfit on the 31st. But you mentioned the Greenland trip. She didn't go into the basement and find this outfit. She really had to have planned that well in advance.
Yeah.
Now she could probably, have one of her T. Brooks or somebody on the staff, take the helicopter off the yacht and go pick up something at an Amazon drop-off point and pick up her Kanreki outfit. Maybe, Nick, are we gonna do Kanreki? Are we gonna wear Kanreki outfits? Or that's really just for the person who turns 60, though, right?
Yes, yeah, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to appear disrespectful. I enjoy a good hat as much as the next man, but I think I'll leave that for Joe.
Really, Rowling in a red beret. That would be a plus. That would be a plus. All right. So I want to thank you, Nick, for all the work you've done on this series so far. I mean, you created the fun video that opens every one of these adventures, and you have edited every one of these videos. I have to do is show up. This is great.
I knew it was gonna be hard work, and John, don't do down. I know how much hard work it is just deciding what to talk about, let alone getting all the notes in order. But we knew it was going to be hard work. What I wasn't expecting was just how much fun this was going to be.
Yeah. The opposite for me. I didn't think it was going to be very hard. Just one thing. What the heck? Just pull. It's something at random, right? I thought these were going to be 15-minute talks. What I knew it was going to be fun. And I'm really enjoying the comments. Shout outs to the people that are writing comments, because Nick and I read every single one of them and love it. I know it's a big ask for people to spend an hour of their day, talking with Nick and John, but it's been a delight to get the response that we've had. All right, though, on to the last 8 days. I don't know how many days. How many days do we have left? 8. Okay, so we got a little over a week here.
Yes, 9 days if we're going to cover the 31st.
Yeah, I'd like it if sometime we do a full review of the buoys. Just like 3 points about each of the buoys in the lake, and I will do the same for the golden threads.
Yeah,
and the tools, and say here's what the tools are, and here's that. And we'll do that interview style where I'll interview you about the lake and say, well, what about this? What about that? And you can do the same thing about the thing. That might take that'll do that. And then I want to talk about, what can you do with this lake and shed model? What are the limits of it?
Yeah.
And that's really the 4th generation question, Nick, is, what is it just something you do in your rear view mirror? Is there anything you can do with, can you use the shed to get into the lake? I mean, that's the stuff that gets dicey. And yet, if you see something which is a golden thread that appears in every single work, and there's no known lake element, then you're gonna have to ask yourself, is that bibliographical? Is that something? Is just something that really struck her in her reading? Or is that instead something that we don't know about her life? Because there's a lot of stuff in her life we don't know.
No.
And how fair it is to speculate on those points. That'll be something we'll do. That'll be the agony of birth, into her second life, on the 31st. All right, I have to go off to the parking lot, Nick. It's time for me to get my glasses back on.
John, don't forget to hydrate.
Thank you. Are you drinking enough, John? Yeah, I'm drinking enough. Give me a break. See you tomorrow, Nick.
Tomorrow.
Send me a note about what we're talking about, so we can.
We'll surprise. Take care, John.